wherever you are. I am not honestly. This is no gimmick. I'm not trying to offend or hurt anyone's feelings with this topic, but this is just table talk. So grab your coffee, grab your Gatorade, grab your Mountain Dew, grab your Pepsi, grab your water. I think I said water, whatever. Grab your tea, grab whatever it is that you're going to grab because I want you to sit back, relax, so we could just table talk. So, um, again, real quick, thank you for tuning in. Those who are watching live now and those who are going to watch the rebroadcast of this, I just want to welcome you and say thank you for tuning in to this series. We are dealing with loss. When it comes to loss, pretty much, how can I say this? When you're dealing with loss, there's nothing out there really to explain or help you deal or manage with dealing with loss. Whether it's loss of a loved one, loss of property, loss of whatever. This topic is so broad and it's so big. It can go towards a lot of things. So there's really nothing out there that helps you with this. But we have people, I would say, that would the best thing they could come up with is God knows what's best, trust in God, or my favorite, everything happens for a reason. Now, if I'm just gonna be a buck right now, none of that stuff really works. like seriously, like none of it. You telling me that when I need something more than just that really doesn't help. And um, this, and I know this because this is something that happened to me um, when I lost the closest person to me about 13 years ago. So I don't want you to think that I'm just sitting up here and I don't have any experience in this and I've never like what do he know about loss? What how can you tell me how to deal with loss? How can you I'm going to give you a little background on me. This show, the reason why I call this the introduction, because this is my introduction to you. Like, this is the first time that I've ever really broke my silence about dealing with the loss, and we just gonna go ahead and get into it, of my mother. Now, if you follow me, you know that I lost my mother. I just said it about 19 years ago, going on 20 years ago. Um, and I said 13 years ago, and the thing I'm thinking like, wait, no, that's way longer. 19 years ago. So what happened was after I lost my mother, a couple of years had passed, and after getting all them crazy answers, like God knows best, like I said, and I mean, fine and dandy, yes, He does, but how does that help me? Put your trust in God. Yes, I know I should do that, but right now, how can I do that feeling the way that I feel? What was the last one I said? Um, God knows best. I think that was it. Or, it's just all these crazy cliche words or sayings that people tell you to make you want to feel better. They want you to feel better, but the honest to God truth is that they just don't know how to make you feel better. So what happened was during my I don't even know what to call it. I guess for right now, we just gonna say for during my grieving process. Actually, I'm gonna call it denial process. You'll find out a little bit later. I found a pastor whose name was Greg Laurie. Um, you can follow him on YouTube. His whole ministry was dealing with at that time. His main focus of his ministry was dealing with loss because at the time he was going through the same thing with the loss of someone. So um, it gave me a little hope. Like it made me feel a little better, but the thing was, it still wasn't what I was looking for. That that thing that will help me to, in a better way to say, I guess, to move on or to get better, if you understand what I'm saying. So, um, So what I'm going to try to do, because like I said, it helped, but it didn't get me to, I guess I could say, where I am now as to with dealing with the loss of my mother. So what I plan on doing, my goal with this series is to break down his teachings, the stuff that helped me, to break it down so I can help those of us who has dealt with it, is dealing with it, or will have to deal with it in the future with this issue themselves. So here we go. Let's take a minute and talk about good old Javon. Um, but actually, we're gonna get into that after a word from our sponsor. All right, thank you for continuing to rock with me today. I want to thank Next Generation Childcare for being a proud sponsor here on Table Talk. Um, so, like I was saying, um, like I said, when I was 22 years old, that's about almost 20 years ago. Yeah, like I was saying, my son is 19, and that's how I know how long my mother has passed. I go off of my son's birthday. This will make sense in a little bit, but I was 22 when I lost my mother. And like I said, one more time, I may sound like a broken record. I want you to understand that I have experience in dealing with loss. The only thing is, I do know a little bit about how to make it better, if I can say that. But I was 22 when I lost my mother. The way that I dealt with it was I stayed busy and I pretended. See, my mother was getting ready to move to California right before she passed. My mom passed of ovarian cancer. Actually, let's just go ahead and get into this. She had ovarian cancer. She was supposed to be getting surgery to get it taken out. But what happened was she ended up going into surgery. But before she went into surgery, she was in pain. So, anyone who knows, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to take anything orally, meaning pills, water, anything like that. You're not supposed to do that. They supposed to gave it to her through an injection, the pain medication. They gave it to her orally. She went into surgery. While she was in surgery, she threw up everything that they gave her. It went back into her lungs and she caught pneumonia. And probably, I want to say, about a month or so after that, she passed. Now, before she got sick, we had just came from a trip from the Bahamas. We had a family reunion. So it was me, my daughter, my grandma. It was the family. Like, we had a big family reunion on a cruise. Don't judge me. Don't talk about me. I can hear a couple of y'all like, that boy really was spoiled. Yes, I was. Okay. Yes, I was. I love my mom. Forget y'all. So we had a family reunion. My mother was keeping my daughter on the cruise at the time, and because my mother loved my granddaughter. I mean, her granddaughter, my granddaughter. Oh my God, please no. My daughter. Um, so she hung out with her all the time. So her and my daughter got sick at the same time, and we thinking that it's just something off of the boat. Like my mother was drinking tea. She was drinking sweet tea. That's why sweet tea is probably my big. Anybody who knows me know I love sweet tea. So her and my daughter was drinking sweet tea. We get home. Um, my mother and my daughter is sick. So we're just like, well, they both was drinking the same thing. They both was, so that's why they sick. My daughter got better, but my mother didn't. So that's when we found out she had ovarian cancer. Now, growing up, I need you to understand that it was just me and my mom, my grandma, and my granddad. With me and my mom did everything for me. At the age of 6, I was going to Disneyland in Florida, Disney World. No, Disneyland, right, Disneyland from the age of 6 to 12. Disneyland, Epcot, MGM and Universal Studios. That was my Christmas present every year. I'm painting this picture for you because I want you to understand how close me and my mother was. Every year it was just me and her. I am still kind of a big wrestling fan. So my mother loved me so much that she used to take me to Chicago. I'll never forget this. We would drive to Chicago and she would take me to live wrestling events in Chicago. Now, Chicago is about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive maybe. So when wrestling is over with at 10 o'clock, my mother is taking that drive. We didn't stay in a hotel. She made that drive home just because of me. All I had to do was get good grades and sacrifice some stuff. What did I have to sacrifice? All the kids around me was wearing new clothes, new shoes, all that stuff. I sacrificed the new clothes, the new shoes um for moments. I was gonna say entertainment, but moments. I had moments instead of material things with the wrestling, with the MGM and all that stuff. So from the age of 6, I've always experienced greater things. And this was because of my mother. Anytime I needed my mother, she was always there for me. Even when I dropped out of school, my mother never even really badmouthed me or made me feel bad. She was like, "Well, if you have a plan, you have a plan." Just and if anybody would talk about me, the crazy thing is, she would snap. Like, don't talk about my baby. Like, well, if you feel that way about my son, your son a crazy. Well, your son he doing drugs. He dealing drugs. He doing this. Like, don't come at me because she got some dirt on you and she gonna read you your rights. You know what I mean? So my mother, it was literally me and my mom. Like nobody else. Like don't mess with me. Don't make like my mom did not play. And if Duran on here, he probably used the word Joyce Ann. Like Joyce Ann, yeah, she wasn't. My mama, I got her name tattooed on my arm, Joyce Ann. So me and my mother's bond, because my mother had to do something for me that was hard for her. She had to be mother and father. So with doing that, it's a lot of stuff. Oh my goodness. I'm literally breaking silence right now. If any of my cousins was on here, I was so stuck on my mom that there was a point where my cousins thought I was going to cut. And I'm not trying to offend anyone. My cousins legitimately thought that I was going to grow up gay because that's how close me and my mother was. Like, and also because my mother did want me to have a relationship with my father, I would spend a lot of time over my father's side of the family, and it was all girls there. So all I had was or women influence. So that's why they probably thought that, but obviously no. Okay, um, so it was legitly me and my mom. So when my mom passed, like I said, How much time I got? Okay. I legitly um was in denial. What do I mean? Like I said, my mother was supposed to have moved to California. So in this time from before we go on the family reunion to my mother passing, she had met someone online dating. After I was grown, after I turned 18, her whole thing was, okay, you're grown. And that's another thing. This is very important. Very important. Until I became 18, so from when I was born all the way up till I was 18, my mother did not date nobody. Legitly did not date nobody. My dad wasn't in the picture. He kind of was, kind of wasn't. So okay. But my mom would not date anyone. Reason being because she wanted me to be our whole focus. But, and I know you probably like, well, she probably was, and she just didn't tell you. No, legitly, I can remember in my head dudes wanted to talk to my mom, and she just would not give them no type of action. Like, she didn't have no DoorDash dude. She didn't have no drunk text dude. She didn't have none of that stuff. Like, she legitly was just like, no, it's just about my son. That's how close our bond was. Like, and it wasn't on no mess where I think I saw somewhere where a lot of women who treat their sons like their boyfriend. Like, no, my mother treated me like her one and only son. And she wanted to make sure she didn't have no distractions to give me the best things in life. So with that sacrifice, that was our bond. I'm trying to paint a good picture here. So when I turned 18, she goes on the internet, and this is when, internet dating is very common now. This is back when we were like, hey, that type of stuff right there get you kidnapped, cut up, put in the woods somewhere. If you met like mine, you ain't even seen this dude. Like I had a whole big issue with it because first I never saw my mom date anybody. Second, you never met dude and you going to see him first and you ain't even gonna bring him to see the family. Like no, I had this whole big hissy fit. She ended up going anyways, and to fast forward, he was also on the cruise that we was on right before she passed. So at first, me and him, we wasn't. I ain't gonna say I was that son that was just like, After I met him, I was cool. So we actually, became cool. So she was getting ready to move to California to go be with him. So in my head, when she passed, what happened was she had made that move, and we were just on two different sides of the world, and we wasn't able to keep in touch the way that I would have liked to. That's how I dealt with losing my mother. And with dealing with it that way, denial, it caused me to make a lot of bad decisions. Like one of the bad decisions that I'm not proud of is that it caused me to get remarried to someone who I thought was like my mother. Second marriage. Um, and making that decision, it helped me to realize it because honestly, I was looking for someone to replace that relationship that I had with my mother because I didn't want it to go. And the thing is, with that, I still had my grandma at the time also. So my grandma is legitly the closest person that I have to my mom. And just imagine with my grandma lost a child before her. Like it's not even supposed to go that way. You supposed to go before your child. So I at the time, I guess I got it from my grandma. We just held it in and we really didn't deal with it. And it had got to a point that even with my grandma, she passed about now, I can't even tell you, I think about 3 years ago. Thank you, baby. 3 years ago. And here's the thing. The way that this is how I honestly feel about this. The way my grandma handled the situation, because she lost her husband, then she lost her daughter, and then she lost her sisters. And the way that she compartmentalized it, I think it caused her to begin to lose her mind. That's my opinion. My grandma ended up, my grandma was fine, but when she lost her one sister, my Auntie Julia, when my grandma lost Auntie Julia, I think she just literally gave up. She had lost her husband, she didn't give up. She had lost her daughter, she didn't give up. She had lost one sister, she didn't give up. But when she lost that second sister, because of the way that she was just like, okay, check out. And I was left to help take care and provide for her with that. So I saw a lot of stuff. I literally saw my grandma not be my grandma anymore. So when I lost her, um, I kind of was able to handle it a little better than I did with my mother. I wasn't going around looking for someone to replace my mama and my grandma at least, But I was able to. I had a, well, I guess God is going to deal, or God knows what's best mentality, which He does. But that honestly just doesn't help. So I've lost my mother, I lost my grandma, and with my mother, like I said, I made very bad decisions. Like I said, I was trying to find someone to replace her. And in doing that, I put a whole responsibility on someone that I should not have put. I had to understand, excuse me, I had to realize and understand that there's only one Joyce Ann. Can't nobody replace my mother. But even a person coming trying to attempt to do that is like, I know better now. So with this, I'm sharing this because I want you to know that I know how it feels to lose a loved one. Um, I know um, the bad emotional decisions that we can make. I mean, I thought sex would fix it. I thought drugs would fix it. I thought alcohol would fix it. I thought I had, for a while, I had a whole issue of being alone. Like, I didn't want to be alone. Truth be told, after my mom passed, I ended up being by myself. My family even ended up leaving. So it, I, I've been on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to dealing with loss. Um, so, like I said, I think I pray I have some answers for you because there's a couple of things that we have to talk about and that we're going to talk about in this series. Since I gave y'all a little history lesson on Mr. Table Talk, um, what we're gonna talk about in this series is blame. How there are two forms of blame, and sometimes the church make it seem like if you get into that blame, if you don't do the, well, God knows best, and if you ain't happy with that answer, there's a problem. So we're going to talk about blame, we're going to talk about the plan of God, and then we're going to talk about hope. Hope being, hopefully I can either help you get hope or help you help someone else get hope, because it's not a lot of us out here that knows how to help people get courage. I think I saw my dad on here. He said sometimes all you can do at times like that is listen, you know, comfort, be patient. And that's a key thing, because sometimes when you're trying to help someone who is grieving, we are so fast to try to get them out of that moment. Don't let them have that moment. Sometimes we need, the Bible says there's a time and a season for everything, a time to mourn and a time to dance. If there's a time to mourn, I need to mourn. There's nothing wrong with being sad, but we make it seem like there is something wrong with that. So I want to squash all these ridiculous methods that we go through to help people get over loss and really help people come under hope, healing, and being able to take that, and when they see someone else going through it, be able to apply what they learned because all I'm doing is applying what I learned, sharing it to you, so it can spread on, so we can actually have a healthy body, who we can have healthy Christians who are allowed to cry. That part. So, um, like I said, there was no scripture, there was no table talk rewind, there was no um, full circle. This was just like an honest, in depth. I think this is probably the most open and honest that I've ever been with anyone about um, my situation, what I was going through, especially with, and there was a lot more mistakes that I made even with that. I remember there was even a point that I wanted to die and I tried to kill myself. I have not shared that with a lot of people. Yes, I had a gun. I literally tried to fire it. It didn't shoot. When I shot it again, and actually the crazy thing is, this was the dumb thing. When I shot it again, it went through the house, and my granddad was downstairs. I mean, my grandma was downstairs, and she heard it, and she was like, "What?" And I just faked it off. Like, it's a lot of dumb decisions that we, or I ain't gonna say dumb. There's a lot of misled decisions that we make because we don't know how to deal with things, and we're told God knows what's best, so just trust it. But there comes a time that you just can't trust it, and you like what to do. So I want to get rid of. I want to help people. That's well said. I just want to help people. So we're gonna go to video announcements, and when I come back, um, I'll give you my final thoughts.
Here are your video announcements for the movement community. Join Pastor Dr. Tony Willie Jr. on his Facebook page for the Movement Underground 9.0, Sundays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Join Pastor Dana Kelly for My Morning Worship, Monday through Fridays at 8 a.m. Let's go back to the beginning with Table Talk Origins, pre-recorded every Monday at 10 a.m. Join Deron Nathaniel for Kingdom Meditations every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let Us Pray with Minister Sheila Walker every Thursday at 7 p.m. This is a private page, so ask to join. The Phenomenal Woman to Woman Tea Time group with Talicia James. This is a private group, so ask to join. Table Talk Prime Time with Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence, reacting to everything entertainment every Thursday at 7 p.m. Join the men of Table Talk Sound Off every second and fourth Saturdays at 9 a.m. Join the women of Table Talk Uncut every first and third Saturdays at 9 a.m. Join me every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. for Table Talk. And if you would like to donate, you can do so at Cash App with Table Talk 20.
Look, I dare my wife say I'm a blocker. My wife sit up here talking about, so she gave you 18 years, let her do her. I mean, I'm not a blocker. That's all I'm going to say. That's my final thought, y'all. I am not a blocker. No, but thank y'all for tuning in. If this show has touched and agreed with y'all in any way, I was going through the comments, man. Y'all comments, I really appreciate y'all comments. We're gonna rock through this, and we're gonna get through this together. If Table Talk has touched and agreed with you in any way at all, please like, share, follow. And the purpose why we say follow, because anything that we're doing, like if you follow when the devotion pop up, you'll get instant notifications. When we get ready to go live, you get instant notifications, all of that. So that's why we're asking you to follow and like the page, so you can get up-to-date information, because we have a lot going on here. We have memes, we have inspirational posts, we have everything that we do on here. You will get instant notification about it. So make sure you follow us here on Table Talk. And like I said, you do or you don't. All I can do is walk you to the door. The rest is up to you. We will see you next week with part 2 of dealing with this series, which I think it is The Plan of God, which will be available for you to view on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Bye, and y'all have a blessed Sunday.